So, very welcome. I'm very happy to see you all here. My name is Anna Broders and I work for Linköping Science Park. And Linköping Science Park is part of Sweden ICT, which I would present a bit closer soon. And today we're here because I think that many of us share the same challenge. And the challenge is the lack of talents. There is a big need of talents in many companies. And in the same time, we're all acting on a global market. So also the global input and the global competence is important for many companies. So therefore, I'm very happy to have this seminar today because it's about an opportunity to get global competence to your company. But before we get to hear more about this opportunity, I would like to tell a bit more about Sweden ICT, which is a collaboration between 6 science parks in Sweden. It's from the north, Luleå Science Park, Kista Science City in Stockholm. We have Linköping Science Park, Lund Science Park in Karlskrona, Lindholmen Science Park in Gothenburg, and Ideon Science Park in Lund. And from Ideon Science Park, we have Lotta Westfeldt with us today. She's waving over there. Together, these 6 science parks, we have around 2,400 companies in the science parks, and we have around 59,000 people working here. So it's a really big group of companies and people, and like I said, many with the same challenge. And today we have the Swedish-American Chamber of Commerce with us, and Cecilia and Ida, who will tell us more about their talent program and the opportunity to have American talents in Swedish companies. So Cecilia, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Anna, for having us. And again, my name is Cecilia, and I'm working with talent mobility in Sweden and the United States for many years. And I'm really excited to be able to tell you a little bit more about our program, specifically going from the United States to Sweden as a way for Swedish companies to get talent from the United States. So let's just go to the next picture, Anna. I just wanted to give a little bit of the background of SACC-USA, what we are. It's a big network for a small country like Sweden. We have 19 regional chambers across the United States, and obviously our mission is to support and promote Swedish-American trade and investment in both directions. And our chambers have all kinds of services for Swedish and American companies, including over 300 events per year. Between them, we do trade delegations and various kinds of solutions that fit the specific companies. So we tailor specific programs for them to fit their strategies. And we also help companies with talent mobility in both directions. And that's what we are going to talk to a little bit more about right now. So let's go to the next picture. All right, so SACC-USA's bilateral talent mobility program offers our companies tools to create your own talent pool and to use as part of your employer branding. And those very concrete specific tools are the J1 visa for people from Sweden to go to the United States to get practical training. And in the other direction, the Swedish work permit for training for companies who want to host a trainee from the United States. And of course, these tools can also be used not for new interns or trainees to your company, but also for employees and recent hires that you have already have in the company. So not just students and recent graduates. I mean, that's kind of obvious. that you want to reach them, but these tools can also be used for entry-level employees and researchers, and even for partners in various kind of business collaborations. These type of tools can really be used strategically by companies to enhance internationalization internally. So let's move on, Anna. So today, again, we are talking about the one leg of our bilateral program, namely the US talent to Sweden. And this is part of Sweden's export strategy. It's a project that we were awarded by the Swedish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so it's very important, I think, to keep in mind that it's very much part of Sweden's export strategy to get more talent to Sweden, and in the end have more business between Sweden and the United States. And the program really is based on the lack of talent, like Anna said in the introduction, and specifically within tech, but we can do all kinds of different areas. And it really is a very good and easy way for companies in Sweden to find well-educated, talented students and recent graduates from the United States. And we get applications from students from top universities, all kinds of universities, very broadly. And of course, in addition to getting specific skills, I think the fact that you also get cross-cultural knowledge and sharing of ideas is equally important. So let's go to the next one, Anna. So this is a way to sort of visualize all the benefits with being part or taking part in a program like this. Obviously, you can get access, your companies can get access to well-educated, good education, unique skills, and build your talent pool. And again, use it as part of your employer branding. And the more sort of long-term objectives is to enhance innovation in Sweden, and also show people internally and externally in your company that you are an international company, and internationalization is very important. And also having a US trainee is a very good way of getting specific information or access to things like a person's very sort of intimate knowledge of marketing and geography and American culture and all those kind of things that sort of are added benefits. And in the end, the program really has as an ultimate goal to increase trade between Sweden and the United States in both directions. Do you want to go to the next one? So we wanted to just show you an overview of what the process looks like. We try to make it very simple for the participating host companies, and we ask you to put together a regular job ad, basically, that we post in various ways. Most important is that we use an American university portal. Again, I mentioned before, we have very broad reach to all kinds of American universities. And we also, of course, use our own network and partners that we collaborate with. And so we generate the applications for the host company, and then the host company evaluates and selects the candidate. We are not a recruiting company. It certainly is the host company that should, pick the person, the applicant. And then once that matching is done, SACC-USA will help with the Swedish work permit for training application with the Swedish Migration Agency. So let's go to the next one, Anna. As I mentioned, we are recognized by, SACC-USA, we are recognized by the Swedish Migration Agency to be able to assist with this work permit. And it's up for it's for a training period up to 18 months. So it could be from just a few weeks up to 18 months. And this work permit actually is quite simple and uncomplicated. So when hiring someone from outside of the EU, normally the company would need to post that position in the EU and also have approval from the labor union, but that's not required for the work permit for training. So it really is very easy and uncomplicated and also inexpensive. There's really only a small fee that the trainee pays as an application fee to the migration agency. And the processing time used to be about 4 weeks. Now it is 3 months. The migration agency says that they will process the permit in three months. So let's move to the next one. Again, we try to make it easy for the host company to take part in this program. Like we said, we help you put together a posting. And then we send applications for the company to evaluate. And then once the final matching is done, really the only requirement is a very short written offer of training. And we can also help with that process, writing that. The salary should be enough to cover local living expenses. And of course, since this is a training position, there should be a supervisor that sort of oversee the training program. SACC-USA does not charge a service fee for this. As I mentioned, this is a grant from the Swedish government via the Swedish Institute. So we are able to do this service for free. And also I want to mention that we want companies to know that there really are no strings attached. Of course, the goal is to reach a good matching, but if that were not to happen, there really are no obligations. Should should the process not sort of end up in the perfect placement. So there are no fees or any kind of obligations really for the company to take part in this. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, I would say. So let's move to the next picture, Emma. And so these are some of the fine prints for the work permit. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. You can sort of read for yourself. Obviously there will be the compensation. There is either a flat sink tax for a period shorter than 6 months, and anything longer than that is regular Swedish tax rates, regular employment taxes, and there should be also this sort of the similar conditions that the company offers regular employees, or possibly what is customary in the industry for trainees. The candidate coming to do the training has to have their own travel and accident insurance for any period shorter than a year. Anything over a year, of course, the person would be eligible for the Swedish National Health Insurance. this work permit cannot be extended, but it is possible to do one short training program and then go back and apply for a new one up to a total of 18 months for that individual. And it's also possible after the end of training or before the training has ended, if everyone is happy, which often happens in the program actually, it is possible to apply for the regular work permit and stay in Sweden. So let's move on. And again, I want to emphasize, we want to try to make this as easy as possible, and we help with some of the logistics and practical details surrounding the placement and the move to Sweden, such as housing. We have started, now that we all do Zoom so much more, we have realized it's actually it's a good service for the candidate coming to do a Zoom session with that person and sort of show how Blocket works to find second-hand housing. And we also help with things like the travel and buying tickets and the health insurance, and once the trainee gets to Sweden, to visit the migration agency to get their residence card, get the personal ID number that's so important in Sweden, getting a bank account, things like that. And also to try and make the stay in Sweden as rewarding as possible. We also try as much as possible to provide both a business and a social network for the trainee while he or she is in Sweden. We have an alumni network consisting of people, of Swedes who have been trainees in the United States and have returned to Sweden, and they can act as welcoming ambassadors. We also on this call have Ninni Lutin Kärling, who was really part of the team initiating this program. She used to work with the Swedish Institute, and she also, for someone coming to Stockholm, Ninni is happy to welcome that person for a cup of coffee or something like that. And we also have a very good partnership with the American Chamber in Sweden, and they offer a lot of events, and our participants in our program get access to some of those events for free. So let's move on, Anna. All right, so the big elephant in the room, of course, when you talk bilateral talent mobility, is the COVID-19 pandemic. And so what is so very positive right now is that if a person has an approved work permit for Sweden, it is possible to enter Sweden. So that is actually not an issue. Otherwise, I'm sure you know that it's not possible to just come as a tourist from the United States to Sweden right now. It's restricted currently until the end of March, and it remains to be seen what happens after that. To the United States, we're not focusing on that today, but I just wanted to mention, since we do talk about a program in both directions, that right now there are travel and visa regulations, and we are eagerly awaiting the new presidential administration's immigration and visa policy, and we are really hopeful that it will open up very soon. We have in the meantime actually seen some remote training programs which have worked out surprisingly well, I would say, but of course you miss so much of the cultural exchange and those kind of benefits that I really hope this is more of a temporary solution, and we are really looking to having more people come to Sweden. Americans coming to Sweden is really the goal. So let's move on. So why should a Swedish company have a trainee from the United States? Well, there are so many benefits. You know, we have talked about it quite a bit. And I think, again, obviously, getting good talent, well educated in a specific, perhaps narrow area where there is perhaps not as many available applicants in Sweden as needed. This is a good solution. And we have seen in our program companies who are really very pleased with the outcome when it comes to the skills or the marketing knowledge that comes with it, or assistance with helping with communication between your Swedish and American operations, things like that. And just having the international sort of added benefit just for your regular employees, I think also is very important. So let's move on to the next one. And this is going to be an introduction to 3 participants on this call from AIFM Group in Kalmar. And they have had an American trainees for many years now. And it's I'm very pleased and excited to tell you that several of them, or at least now 2 of them, have decided or chosen to stay with AIFM. So on this call, we have Jonathan Taylor, who is the CEO of AIFM Group, and he is the supervisor of their American trainees. And Jared Fain was the trainee a while back and is now a permanent employee. And Jay Strennan is their current trainee. And I think we can open up and let them introduce themselves just very briefly, and then we will open up for a Q&A session with AIFM Group, and also any kind of other questions that the participants on this call may have. So Jonathan, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can do. I'll apologize in advance. I'm sure everyone's in this situation, not everyone, but a lot of people. If my kid comes running in the room and starts screaming, I apologize. That's why I've kind of been running in and out of the call and smiling a lot, because he keeps running in, shouting at me. So, hey, I'm Jonathan Taylor, as you introduced me. I'm the CEO of the AIFM Group. I've heavily been involved since I've started with the company, of looking over the trainees coming in from America. And as previously said, we're very, very happy with this program, and obviously the selection process that comes to us and how they perform for us. And that's one of the reasons why we have 2 people still working for us after they've been done with their education. So we're very, very, very happy with the program. And obviously the program speaks for itself. The first trainee we had left us, and now she's working for Bloomberg in New York. We have 2 currently working for us, and the other one has just got a full-time job working for a PR agency in Stockholm. So we're very pleased with obviously the outcome, not just for ourselves, but also for the individuals also.
That's great to hear. And Jared, you have more experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been 2.5 years now. So
we can't really hear you so well. At least I can't.
Is that any better? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's been about 3.5 years, I suppose. So, can kind of speak for itself. Very, very lucky to have experienced this, and very happy to still be in Sweden with the company. And thanks to Jonathan's guidance, I had a very positive experience from the beginning. So very appreciative and happy to be here.
Yeah, we when we started this program, we really thought, why would Why would Americans want to go to Sweden? It's dark and cold and miserable. But that's not necessarily the case, right? Sweden is pretty neat in many ways.
So it's only like that for 10 months. There's 2 nice months in the summer that you can enjoy in Sweden anyway.
Yeah,
That's how we try and market it to them.
but also, I mean, I don't know if you can hear me okay, but I get asked this question all the time. And I know Jace would agree that in terms of all the places, you know, in the world we could have ended up, certainly Sweden is extremely welcoming, and the people here are very open to not only language, but just receptive to us coming from America and trying to find our footing here in the workforce and studying. So I think it's actually a very good relationship between our two countries, and the transition can be pretty seamless.
That's great. That's great to hear. And Jace, do you want to say something?
Well, I would just say that I have had a very similar experience to what Jared has mentioned thus far. It's been extremely facilitating to both go into the university and the work setting. Everything is going great. I've been here about 18 months, and it seems that I may be here for an unforeseen amount of time, and I'm very pleased with it. And I'm quite thankful for this opportunity, and I think it's something that if anybody ever wants to experience a new culture, a new way of living, and a work life that you're not used to, I think it's a great way to learn all those things.
Yeah, I agree with you that getting the cultural experience and the difference of perspective, it really is important in today's global economy, I think, for companies to embrace that. And so that is really a goal with the program, to help Swedish companies specifically to do that. So shall we open up the floor for some of the participants?
It sounds like a plan, and we are not that many. So I think if you have any question, just unmute yourself and ask the question. Lotta.
Yes, I have a question. I'm working for Ideon Science Park, and we do have 400 companies, mostly deep tech companies within different areas. And yes, they are all looking for new talents. We all know that. But my question is, if they if they would use this program and if they will get a trainee, they will put a lot of effort and timing in this person, and that's really good. But how many of the trainees will actually stay and will actually apply for a regular employment? And is that does it happen often, or what does the company says? Is it easier to get an employment from an EU person?
I can just answer quickly. From our perspective, 50% of our trainees have stayed on and will be working full time with us. Obviously, I agree with what you're saying. Obviously, you do put a lot of time and effort into training them up and getting them to where you feel they are a big asset for your company in terms of helping us grow. But we have a 50% success rate, and we feel as if the environment is right for them, they will want to stay. So that's how it's been for us.
That's good.
Just to say one more thing from our perspective, I don't want to speak for Jace, but I think also when you bring like people in from the US like us, I mean, the company was pretty much my bridge to Sweden. So it's a bit deeper than just the usual employment relationship. So when it came time to think about the future, I mean, of course there were options to go back home here and there, but the relationships that I had here had become very important. So I think that's a difference in hiring, from the US.
Is it easy to find to get the regular employment done? with the immigrations? Is it an easy ride, or what do we say about that?
Define easy. I wouldn't say it's a really, really hard process, but I think when it comes to any sort of immigration, nothing's easy. But it isn't. It's nothing that would say turn you away from trying to do the employment for the person. There's a bit of paperwork here and there, a bit of backlog of taxes, and that's about it, to be honest. There's about, I think, a 3 to 6 month grace period in terms of the application process, but I wouldn't say from an employment standpoint it wasn't something that ever turned us away from thinking this is not worth it. It was definitely worth it. So
great.
Isn't the issue more, Jonathan, like you said, that it could take some time to actually get the permit, but the trainee can stay in Sweden and continue working during that application process?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, initially when we first did it, we weren't really fully aware of that situation. We were obviously a little bit in a panic situation for Jared's case, trying to get all of the immigration, trying to get everything pushed through. And then obviously when we spoke with Cecilia and SAC, they obviously did a bit of research for us and showed us that it is okay while it's in application process. It's just about being on top of things. If the employee and the employer are very upfront, like we are with Jace now, and say obviously about staying and they want to stay, then it's just about being prepared and getting the application in on time. And then there'll be no real kind of stress regarding the application process, which I feel it'll be the same thing for Jace now. I don't feel like we'll have a stress like we did with Jared. Hopefully not anyway.
And I also think if the long-term objective really is to get permanent employees, one can really start with a summer internship this year, and then maybe another summer internship next year, and then you build that relationship, and over time the person will end up being your permanent employee. Like we were talking about, sort of building your talent pool by offering perhaps shorter period of training during the studies, and then once the trainee is graduating, a longer training period, and then go to permanent employment after that. Because if we don't get the Americans to Sweden, if we don't get them here in the first place, it will be even more difficult in that case to hire permanently. I think we all wouldn't necessarily jump into a job opportunity in a country we have never even visited, perhaps. So I do think to sort of build the relationships and again, help put Sweden on the map as a destination for both studies and training and employment is part of what our network does. And I think also that is sort of one of the objectives of this program, just to make Sweden more known here in the United States as a great country and innovative and high-tech country offering very good work and job opportunities, training and job opportunities.
Great. Are there any more questions?
I noticed we have at least one university with us, and I could mention that SACC-USA is also working on a special project with Swedish universities to build more relationships with American universities, again to sort of expand the exchange and exchange studies and training for students in both Sweden and the United States. And build collaborations with American universities. So for instance, right now we have a company in Umeå, and we have established a collaboration for that company with Rochester Institute of Technology. And so then Rochester will sort of help find good applicants for their specific need at the company in Umeå. And they will come for training as part of their co-op requirement during their studies. So we are trying to also sort of expand our program that way. We can think about specific technology fields where we can then research, which American universities are at the top in these specific fields, where there is a need in Sweden, and also to then build deeper relationships that will be helpful for both parties, the companies and the universities, and of course for the students and the trainees.
And if they were one of the participating companies that is interested in this kind of collaboration, do they take contact with you then, Cecilia?
Did you say the companies or the university? I just didn't hear.
The companies.
Yes, of course. If anyone is interested in learning more about the program and how SACC-USA can help you, specifically getting an American as a trainee, but also sending someone in the other direction, please contact us. You have my contact information there. We have Ida on the call, who is with us. Right now she is with us remotely, and we hope she will be coming to Washington DC very soon. And Ida will be the one helping with the practical details around the posting a position and the matching process. And of course, you also have Anna Broder's contact information there too. And we would be very happy to help the partners in Sweden ICT to get more Americans to your science parks. Absolutely.
Great.
And so if you already have some kind of entrepreneurial or innovation projects with entities in the United States, share them with us, and we can see if there's anything our network can do to help you expand that, help you with contacts, or help you with other things in the US market. Absolutely. Again, we have 19 chambers with very good local knowledge. They know people locally, and it really is a fantastic network, and lots of enthusiastic people who want to help.
Great.
And try and guide you and in the right direction so that you get the connections you're looking for.
Perfect. We have some minutes left if there are any more questions, either to Cecilia or to the company and the trainees. And also, like Cecilia said, you have our contacts at this slide. So if you have any questions, let us know.
Same for if anyone has any more questions for the company. Obviously, from our experience in terms of the application process, from a company standpoint, obviously it's good to speak to someone on our side. If anyone has any questions, you can obviously speak to Cecilia to get contact information, and I'm more than willing to have a phone call or an email conversation with anyone regarding how it is from a company side.
Perfect. Really good.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Well, then a big thanks to all the participants and all the people at this meeting. And I hope you have a nice Friday and a nice weekend. And I hope we get in touch.
Thank you so much, Anna, for having us.